these small nonprofits, they're working jobs to be able to help pay
Yeah.
for the care and well-being of these horses, which is true. And I'm grateful every day that I can still get up and use my brain, because that's what I do in my job, right? My voice and my brain.
Right.
But I also know that a lot of people are working hard, working hours just to be able to care for these horses, especially these organizations like ours that take in horses. I also get these benefits from these horses, being around them. I'm so grateful that they share their space with me. People that have never had a horse experience, they got curious about why that did that. And then I'd say, well, maybe find a local barn that, maybe they'd want to volunteer to just come, or maybe they have an equine experience program, and,
Yeah.
and we can't lessen at all. I mean, us as humans have an ego, right? And
Yeah, we do.
yeah, and w- we just can't lessen the healing power of these creatures, even in still form. I'm thinking about how many people, they think, well, it's 1,000-pound animal. I don't have a yard big enough. I can't have one. So I don't really need to, I can't even imagine I could have an experience with one.
Yeah.
Right. But there's so many ways, like you said, so many ways to have an experience. And it could be as simple as having a beautiful horse painting or photo, on your
Yeah.
wall or at your desk at work, and just imagine, that experience. But
There are healers on this planet with the power to soften the suffering of mankind, yet they have remained in the recesses of the world, abused, discarded, and labeled as trash. This is The Touch of a Mustang. I am your host, Shalise Clough, and I'm here to tell the story of wild horses, Mustangs, and the humans who are discovering and sharing their gifts while working to protect their well-being and preserve their spirit, so this divine power won't be lost. Join us on this quest with the wild Mustang.
Great to have you back once again. Let's just talk a little bit about the month of May that we've both been working on to really raise awareness. You guys, for your organization, to also raise funds. But through that, as we talked a little bit about, a lot of connections have been made, and just the idea that horses can help with healing has been promoted a lot. So share with us your perspective, what the month of May has been like for you.
sure. So first, I want to say, like, last year was our first year in Horses for Mental Health campaign, and it was a whirlwind, and things happened that we never could have even imagined could have happened for us to be able to have what we needed to support us and do extra projects, right? And so we were really excited when we were invited to apply again this year and get in. And we really didn't have any idea what it was going to look like. Most nonprofits set a goal, you'll see, for $5,000, right? And we're close to that. We are actually probably over it with in-kind donations that I'm going to credit this weekend. I'm going to send some information to Horses for Mental Health. And so we're excited about that. But what happened was even greater. Like, what I saw through you, Shalise, by being willing, when I said that idea, like, hey, what if we put everyone on the podcast? And
Yeah.
the reason I really wanted to do that was because the people that came on as ambassadors this year, they themselves are ambassadors for horses and humans. Not just people that were maybe our board members or people that knew what we did at Samson Strength, but they are doing this on their own too. They're out there doing it, right? And that when I reached out to them, they had never heard of Horses for Mental Health. And so what happened was they said, yeah, sure, I'll get on. And they got on. And then you willingly said, yes, my part in this, I want to be able to highlight these organizations, these people that are.
I didn't quite know what I was saying yes to, but
Well, I don't think any of us knew quite what we were saying yes
Yeah.
to, right?
Yeah, that's absolutely true.
Yeah. I mean, I told you, like, well, just share us on Facebook, right? Like, just do this. And then it said, well, what about the podcast? And you're like, yeah, that'd be great. Cause that's the gift that you
Yeah.
have. That's the gift that you're giving, is to now you've given each one of those people something that they can share. Right. And I saw yesterday the podcast with Lynn and, and then Zoetis, right? That they were on there, and I mean, they do so much to promote, but this is something that'll be forever. I've got this link to this Touch of a Mustang podcast that we did during the campaign, and they'll be able to share it. And what it does is every single time, just like with our ambassadors, the first time we kept it with people within our circle, so to speak. This time I
Mm-hmm.
reached out to other people that I didn't even know, and you've got more podcasts coming too. So, I
Yep.
didn't know if they would say yes to include you. And you said yes, like you said, you didn't know what you were saying yes to, but,
Yeah.
I feel like what happened this year, it was about so much more. Is the money important? Yes. I mean, we have we have over 20 equines on our farm that, like you said in many of the podcasts, that these small nonprofits, they're working jobs to be able to help pay
Yeah.
for the care and well-being of these horses, which is true. And I'm grateful every day that I can still get up and use my brain, because that's what I do in my job, right? My voice and my
Right.
brain. But I also know that a lot of people are working hard, working hours just to be able to care for these horses, especially these organizations like ours that take in horses that, as you mentioned yesterday, that they were thrown away. They were, and not all of them. We have some horses that have been donated to us by loving horse owners that the horse could no longer perform the job that they were originally designed to perform. And
Mm-hmm.
so they wanted to find a safe, soft landing for them where they could still have a job. We have a couple of those. And then there's also ones that we've gotten out of kill pens. And then there's also ones that we've gotten, obviously, directly through the Bureau of Land Management, to include burros, right? And a spicy Mustang through Forever Branded, right? We call her
Nice.
Spicy because she's spicy,
Mm-hmm.
but she's a sweetheart. She's a part of our horses, our herd. And then the other greater aspect of this, what it does for humans, like for Dave and I every day, Wednesday's my day off, right? And I usually get a massage in the afternoon and do whatever in the morning before. And he said, Wednesday morning this week, he goes, "So what's your plan for today?" And I go, "You want to know the truth?" He goes, "Yeah." I go, "I plan to do nothing except hang out with horses all morning and then go get my massage." And he says, "I think that's a good plan, right?
Yeah. That's a good day
It's
off.
a good day off because I also get these benefits from these horses, being around them. I'm so grateful that they share their space with me, right? You know, um, we had Ray, who's one of your podcast people. I think it's coming up.
Yep. He'll be coming up. Yeah.
Yeah, come to visit and stay with us for a few days. And to see him with the herd, and, I believe that the herd is happy. Of course I do, right? I want to believe that. But to have someone like Ray who does this energy work, for me to say, Ray, I want you to tell me the truth. Is there anyone in our
Mm-hmm.
herd that's a little off? Is there anyone? Is the herd? He goes, "Kathy, they feel so safe here. I can feel it."
Mm.
And that I'm getting tearful because
Yeah.
that's always been my goal for humans doing therapy, is that they feel safe. But I never really knew how to understand or read the horses, right? To ensure that they felt safe, because it's not every day we ask them to absorb human emotion. They get a break and they live like a herd, but some months it's more than others. Some months we have more people come out with all this energy, right? Oh, look at me. There I go. And but the fact, like he said, that they're balanced, we didn't know what we were doing when we put together this herd. We just took horses that people said they need a place to go, right?
Yeah.
And the herd created their own balance. Wow.
Yeah.
Right?
Horses are incredibly good at that.
Yeah. And we can learn so much from that.
Mm-hmm.
Noticing which part of the herd, which horse has a job, what their job is, and how they take turns with that job, like keeping watch, right? Doesn't all fall on one
Yeah.
person, all that pressure.
Right.
There's one that he's the big Mustang that is Dave's Mustang, right? But there is others that step in and take that place. Wow. Right?
Yeah.
It's just amazing. And I'm so grateful. Dave's so grateful. All of our ambassadors are just so excited about the podcasts, right?
Oh, I love to hear that. Yeah.
Yeah, they said, "Well, I'm not sure how I did, but I hope I did well." And everyone I
Yeah. And they
watched,
all did.
oh, right?
Yeah.
And it was so from the heart. Yeah,
Yeah. A lot of it is just the willingness to share their story because anyone who has signed on as an ambassador has seen it in some capacity. Just the ability that there's healing in the world and that a lot of times doesn't come through the things that we're always told it's going to come through. A lot of times it comes through nature, through returning to a more natural state of being, or just even integrating aspects of that into our lives. We can't all sit, you know, in nature and hum all day, but
right.
we can have moments that give us that reprieve. And horses are definitely high up there on a place where you can go to just get some release from everything you're carrying, get some clarity in where you need to go.
Yeah, I have the horse thing. I put these here for me, right, to see it when I'm in my office, and then there's a horse head you can see above it, right? And I can't tell you how
Yeah.
many people say to me, every time you signed on for your session, you had that horse there, and it just looked so free, right? And then the one with its head poking up, it's curious. And that
Yeah.
even people that have never had any other experience with horses, that for whatever reason, I mean, we know it's something amazing and magical, but for whatever reason, that those two things created a sense of safety for them.
Yeah. I mean, I've heard the same thing. Just the imagery of horses can give you some of those same things, maybe not in the same exact way, but in a way where you get that clarity or feel that peace or comfort, different things that we need at different times.
And even making sometimes I think people that have never had a horse experience, they got curious about why that did that. And then I'd say, well, maybe find a local barn. Let's do that together. Right. And a
Yeah.
lot of my clients are far out by where you are. And, mine is Oregon and Washington State or Connecticut or Florida. And I'll look up a barn. I'll look up a nonprofit and say, here's a barn. Go check them out. Maybe they'd want to volunteer to just come, or maybe they have an equine experience program. And
Yeah.
we can't lessen at all. I mean, us as humans have an ego, right? And
Yeah, we do.
yeah, and w we just can't lessen the healing power of these creatures, even in still form, right?
Hmm.
Lynn that you had from Horses for Mental Health and Arenas for Change, she gave me this great idea when I saw her at a conference, and she had taken photos of horses, live, photos of her horses or horses that had been in the wild, and she had them printed at Walmart. And so I'm giving a plug for Walmart because they're only 16 cents a piece for a little.
Yeah. Can't beat
No,
that.
it's cheaper than business cards.
Yeah.
So I went and I printed probably 200 of different ones of horses in our herd, different experiences that horses had, like whether they're the whole herd or horse by the water or hugging a human, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And on the back of it, I put QR codes for Samson Strength and QR code
Oh,
for
nice.
for Arenas for Change, and passed them
Hmm.
out. Whenever I went somewhere, I'm like, here, take one of these cards. And so I also did this thing where there was a bunch of, it was probably about 8 or 9 people. And we were doing a group, and it was a therapy group, and it was experiential and everything with no plans to go anywhere near a horse, right? So I thought, well, I'm going to see if I want to just do a little experiment. So I handed out a specific photo, right? And the specific photo was a photo of one of our Mustangs. The goddess Artemis is her name. Um,
Nice. I like it.
yes, and she has the long wavy mane, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So gorgeous.
And she is standing there with her head, and I'll send it to you after, with her head around
Yeah.
a little girl. So you can't see the little girl's face, you can only see her back. So there's no way to identify her, right?
Yeah.
And I was there with a little girl, and we were working with one of our other horses that I knew for sure was great, Argentina, around kids. She was brushing and grooming and loved that. We walked out of the space with Argentina, and Artemis came up, and I thought, "Uh-oh, I don't know what she's gonna do," because
Yeah.
she's a little goofy sometimes, right? Because
Mhm.
she's young, and she's a little, "I'm all that," you know?
Yeah.
And she just I caught it on a photo, I couldn't believe it. She walked up, she put her head around her, and she hugged her. And
Wow.
this little girl had come to us because her dad was deployed overseas.
Mhm.
And her mom said that she was having a hard time missing her dad. And she said,
Mm.
"Can I bring her out?" We're like, "Absolutely." Right. And so we thought it was going to just be the win with Argentina, but each animal, like then she went to see the burros, right? Shimmer and shine, hugging her. She's hugging them, and her smile and her face and just the impact it had, right? And so what I did though with that photo, let's get back to that, is that so then no one saw a horse in this with this group. No one touched a horse. No one was even within energy space of a horse, but they saw the photo. And I said, "I want you to just close your eyes for a minute. And I want you to just come up with a story that goes with that photo. What's the story? What's that picture telling us?" And I hadn't
Mhm.
told them about the little girl and her dad. I hadn't said any of that. And there were amazing stories. And the stories came out like she needed a hug or, they just all sorts of different things. And some of these people had never, ever, I mean, they were afraid of horses. One of them said, "I'm deadly allergic. I know it for sure, but I've never been around one." Right. So,
Yeah.
what it did was they said, "I think I'd like to be around a horse now,"
Yeah.
because they saw how a horse could tell. And then after I shared the story about this little girl, and they were like, "Wow, wow." I knew that just looking at that picture. I knew there was something that she needed comfort. And
Mm.
that's the piece that we can I mean, I don't you could take a picture of a human hugging a kid, and maybe they'd come up with something, right?
Yeah.
But not like that. It's powerful.
Yeah. Yeah, and so many cool things come out of it because like you said, if you can get more people interested in horses, in all honesty, that's what's gonna keep the horses safe as well,
Yes.
because they really are living in a world that's not suited for them in the way that it was before where we needed them for our living, you know? Now I think we need them in a different way. And then I think the other thing is I don't know how your experience is, but for me, I often felt like the horse world was exclusive. You know, it was only meant for some people. And if you came into it, you had to have X, Y, and Z and all these things. And the reality is that horses are for everybody. Anybody who wants to have an experience with a horse, there is a barn or a private party or someone who would invite you in and let you have that time with a horse. And so the idea that this is spreading, that there is a different place for horses in our world today to help us in this place we're struggling with so much, like mental health has, you would think we would be better off than ever before. And that's just not the case. There are so many people struggling in so many different realms and with so many different challenges. And so the idea that horses can come in and provide that solace or that clarity or that time to be in the present moment, all the different things that horses can do for us, the more that we can spread that awareness, it's just a win win. There's no way around it. Like it's better for the horses who people are going to care for and want to protect. And it's better for the people who are just, drowning in the world today because it just feels so overwhelming and so difficult to navigate.
So true. It's so true, Shalise. And as you're talking, I'm hearing what you're saying, and I'm thinking about how many people, they think, well, it's 1,000-pound animal. I don't have a yard big enough. I can't have one, so I don't really need to. I can't even imagine I could have an experience with one,
Yeah.
right? But there's so many ways, like you said, so many ways to have an experience. And it could be as simple as having a beautiful horse painting or photo, on your
Yeah.
wall or at your desk at work, and just imagine, that experience. But I believe you're right. I believe, so I grew up riding. I grew up like you did, riding, but I worked in that world. So my parents told me before I could get a horse, I had to work in the world. So I worked as a groom for
Mm-hmm.
a hunter jumper farm, and it was
Yeah.
very exclusive, right?
Yeah.
And when we went to shows, I was their groom that they took with them. And most of the other grooms really didn't have access to I was very lucky because the couple that took me treated me like their daughter, you know? And so
Mm.
I would get to do all sorts of stuff that most of the other grooms didn't get to do. But it's a very exclusive world, you're right, and then it's even more exclusive in each, like, hunter jumper versus polo versus, all that kinda stuff. It's so exclusive. "Oh, your horse does that? Well, my horse does this," dressage, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. And sadly, a lot of judgment. So it's not always that it's this perfect place, but I think that we're seeing a change there, which
Absolutely, I do,
I'm
like,
very encouraged by.
so Horses for Mental Health is connected with the Horses and Human Research Foundation. And so I don't remember if I told you, but I got to go to the conference for Horses and Humans
Okay. Yeah.
Research.
I feel like you mentioned it.
Yes. I really want to connect you with them too, because
Yeah.
that's what they're doing is they're looking at research. Dr. Stephen was there and presented. You and I talked about him and getting him on the podcast to talk about the brain. And he's doing so much more about the neuroscience about horses. He's got another book coming out, right? But the piece about it is that they're looking at all the different ways, and there were different tracks. But one of the tracks, like you're talking about, is this welfare track. And it's not about human welfare. There was a human and horses healing piece, but there was a welfare for the horses that are doing this work. And there were quite a few people I had the opportunity to meet that were from the racehorse community, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the work that they're doing in the racehorse community to ensure that those horses, when they're done with their time, have a place that's safe.
Yeah.
Right. It's not, our Mustangs, we think about the Mustangs all the time because the Mustangs are government property. And so,
Mm-hmm.
although there's a law in place, right, look, that's always a possibility it could change. Right. And it has
Right.
been looked at to change. Right. And so these Mustangs that are in these horse management areas, whether it's the Bureau of Land Management or Department of Forestry, they are owned by the government. And so once we take them on and bring them into our home, right, after a year and we get title to them, what does that look like, right? There's not really a whole lot of follow-up, and understandably, because it's a huge issue. What? Like, we're at 60 some thousand horses, Mustangs now,
Yeah, a lot.
right? And probably doing the best they can in most holding facilities, good people that care and trying to want them to find homes. Other people like you had Grace on here, Grace Thompson. I mean, she takes Mustangs
Yeah.
to Germany, right?
Yeah. It's so awesome.
Right. They are considered an American icon there. Here, many people, like you said, consider them kind of a mutt, like a dog that's had, that they're
Yeah.
but they're the if anyone listens to this, I'm going to tell you they're the darndest, hardiest things you'd ever meet. They will eat whatever you give them, right?
Yeah.
And they will
Yeah.
carry a load like you wouldn't believe as a human. Like we see they're small. Yeah, but they're mighty, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they are the most sure-footed horse I've ever had the experience to be around. Nothing, yeah, they're fight, flight, and freeze in the beginning, but once they get to that place where they feel
Yeah.
connected and safe, there's not a whole
Mm-hmm.
lot that they're going to lose their stuff over, you know?
Yeah. They're great.
They're great. Yeah. So I think for me, the biggest thing about this campaign is that I've just had a wonderful opportunity to share what we do, but also you share what you do. And all the people, the ambassadors that have come on so far have had an opportunity to share what they do, who they are. And it's just really, I heard you talk about it yesterday when I listened to the podcast with Lynn. Some days this is hard work.
Yeah.
Especially when you wonder as a nonprofit or a small nonprofit, can I pay the bills?
Yeah.
Can I feed these animals and care for them in the manner in which they deserve to be taken care of?
Right.
And so to have an opportunity to share this is empowering for us, and you have provided us that avenue, and I'm very grateful for that.
Yeah. You're so welcome. It's been great to be a part of. It's great to see all the different avenues that people are coming in to this work. Not everybody was horse people, but they all saw like horses did something for me. Ray's episode's going to be great. Just how, which I've encountered it a few times, but with addiction, how the horses have come in and just helped with that in ways that are almost difficult to describe. I think they could be described, and the more we look at it, the more we'll understand. But yeah, it's been really neat to see the connections just being made in all different avenues and people really coming together versus competing.
Yes. And that's the other part about it that I saw this year. I didn't see it last year. Last year more was we were in the competition, right? How much are we going to raise? Well, we want to be the top one. We were doing all that. I think we were doing it ethically, right? But we were pushing, pushing, pushing. And this year, what I've seen in we get to meet with all the nonprofits like the months ahead before the campaign, and they give us ideas and they give us suggestions, and I just shared everything, and then and other people shared everything. This is what we did. This is what helped us, right? And this is what got us out there, all that kind of stuff. And it was great to see that people weren't afraid to do that, right?
Yeah.
And that's something I think, because the mission truly is about raising awareness so that there's so many people in our world, human beings, that suffer from depression, anxiety, addiction, like you mentioned, and if they could just have an experience, maybe they're not going to own a horse. They don't need to own a horse. If they could, that'd be great, because we have a lot that need
Yeah.
homes, right?
Either way is
Either
great.
way is great. But if there is a horse program listening to this podcast and you've never thought of opening yourself up to people to come in, I encourage you to do that, because it's not about riding. you know, although that's great. And I grew up riding. I don't ride really anymore. I spend time with the horses, right? I connect with the horses. We have, like I mentioned, we take horses sometimes that don't have a job anymore, right? But we also have taken horses that it would have been a hard call for me as a horse person whether I would decide to have them put down or give them a chance to live,
Mm,
because they were
mhm.
really on the edge of, if they got in the hands of the wrong person, they would suffer more, right?
Yeah.
We have a very large Belgian that Babby saved, the woman that we work with the Mustangs that Michael works with as a trainer.
Mhm.
And that's one
Yeah.
of our ambassadors. And she saved 5 Belgian drafts from slaughter and said, Kathy and Dave. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what are we thinking? Right. But, right. Because they all have medical issues. But
Oh, I bet.
one of them is
Yeah. It's
blind.
a lot.
Yeah. One's blind.
Aw.
And so I could see, you know, humanely why someone would do that unless she could be at a place that was safe. And for right now, she's been with us almost a year. She's safe, you know. And
Yeah.
when the vet came out, she said, I can't believe that she's doing as well as she is.
Aw.
And then we had another horse that had been down. She was so malnourished. When they found her, they estimated it had been at least 4 days. She had permanent imprints in parts of her body from things that her legs were all messed up. And um,
Aw.
she would be one that I would probably have gone on scene, in my background with horses, and said, it's not humane to keep her alive. But
Yeah.
they did. A girl rescued her, and we have since gotten her. And the vet came out. She goes, I don't know what you're doing, but keep doing it. Right. And Ray came and showed us some things to do to help her with massage. And Dave's been doing that every day.
Aw.
And she's walking better, you know. Um, it's just amazing to see that. And then through us healing them and them giving us this trust to touch them in places where it hurts. It's just like
Yeah.
humans, right? Like in therapy, we're touching you where it hurts, and it takes trust. It's
Yeah.
just amazing to see it.
Yeah. I think we all need those connections so desperately. That's one thing that the world makes it hard for today, is to have those connections, and horses just offer that so freely,
Yeah,
so much of the time.
yeah. And this whole thing, this campaign, like the connections, talking about these connections. So Ray was Dave's massage therapist and then was my massage therapist for a period of time. That's how we knew him
Mhm.
years ago, and we've stayed connected, on Facebook. Madison was Dave's massage therapist and Reiki therapist when he went up to DLR Ranch in Ohio to learn about Mustangs. They shared so much of their knowledge with us, right?
Yeah, they're great.
Yeah, and I mean, the pieces, these connections, all these connections, and each person, like Ray was at a point in his life, and then Madison was at a point in her life when I reached out and just said, "Hey, do you think you guys would want to be on the Horses for Mental Health campaign?" Like you, like, okay, what does it involve?
Yeah.
Um, Justin Dunn, who is coming on, right? You know,
Yep, that'll be Monday.
yeah, and he's got a book coming out, and Dave spent last year, we had an anonymous donor who donated money for Dave to go and attend with
Oh,
Justin for a week.
yeah.
And Dave's dream was to learn how to ride because, he'd never ridden. I was the first time when we went on a trail ride together when he was an adult, he'd never ridden a horse. And so I
Yeah.
said, honey, I don't think you're going to learn completely how to ride in 1 week, but I'm going to tell you right now, Justin Dunn knows his stuff.
Yeah.
Dave learned so much. It was packed the time. He learned about his mind, body, and spirit. He learned how to hold himself and carry himself with a horse. He learned how to ride.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
So all these things, and who would have ever known, right? Like if this campaign brings these things together.
Mhm. Yeah. It's been really neat to see just all the different avenues, and just like I kinda mentioned before, just people from all different paths who have seen, like, horses give us something that we need in the world today.
Yeah, it's amazing. So, well, thanks for having me on today to kind of give the next.
Yeah.
Yeah, next
No,
next week is week 4. It's the final week. People can continue to,
final
yep,
week.
donate though after up until I think October. Um,
Oh,
but the
cool.
main
Yeah.
month is that. But the campaign keeps that open, that platform open for anyone that wants to donate. And I think I put it out on the Facebook page, but donations, yes, could be money, absolutely. But it also could be, if you feel better, go on Amazon to Samson Strength SSSVP Equine. And we have our supplements on there. You can order supplements on your Amazon account to be shipped to us, or contact our feed store. It's on our Facebook page, different ways you can donate. And if you want to donate to, like, if you get on that Horses for Mental Health thing, and you live out somewhere else and you click in there and put your state in and you see it and you didn't know that that place was in this campaign, donate to them, right?
Yeah.
Because we're all on there because we need it.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I think even the smallest donation has a compounding effect, because if other people aren't stepping up to even just give something small, like, that's stacking and adding on these people who are carrying this. And, no mistake, the work is incredible, but it is also really heavy to carry. It is a lot. It's a big, big calling to not only care for these animals, and also to use them to help people. There's a reason people do it, because they feel so deeply about it. But
Yes.
that doesn't mean it's easy. It's certainly not easy.
Yeah. And I think the truth is that some days are just amazing.
Hmm.
Some days, like with that little girl, that experience I carry forever. You
Yeah,
know,
it's what makes it worth
that
it.
was a year ago. And I'll never forget that day. But some days are hard. Yeah. Yeah. So thank
Yeah,
you.
really, really high highs and really low lows when things feel unsure.
Yes.
But yeah, definitely we'll get this out, include all the links and everything, and keep sharing it.
Look at me,
keep
I'm crying
talking
here.
about this work. Yeah. Well, you're not the only one. It's, it's part of the work. Opens our emotions up. Definitely has for me. It's a place where, yeah, you can feel it all, and it's okay. It's all okay, and not only good, but healing.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you again, Shalise, for all you're doing. I mean that.
Thank you for joining us and learning about horses that heal and the humans who help them. We hope you'll continue with us on this journey. We'd love for you to subscribe on your favorite platform and follow The Touch of a Mustang on any of the major social media outlets. Please share with your friends, anyone who loves horses, or anyone who might be struggling and could benefit from this message. If you have felt the healing power of horses or help them in their divinely appointed mission, please reach out. We want to hear your story. As we say goodbye, always remember that the horse is always there to help you heal.